Absolute knowledge, an essential subject from Vinipedia. Anything about Krishna is Krishna. Since the Lord is himself absolute knowledge, whatever he speaks is absolute knowledge. Therefore, it is possible to have Krishna's association simply by following his instructions, worshipping his form and paraphernalia, and hearing and chanting his holy names, glories, pastimes, and attributes. There is no difference between these things and himself. Anything in relationship with Krishna is identical to him. This is absolute knowledge. Living in the material world, we are ruled by the spell of relative truths. No person in material consciousness can impart absolute knowledge. One cannot speculate and come to the right conclusion because our senses are imperfect. Understanding and realization of absolute knowledge is achieved when we hear and take it from the Absolute, Krishna, the perfect, supreme, absolute personality of Godhead and his pure representatives. Then we shall be perfect. Srila Prabhupada's books, lectures, conversations and letters offer a comprehensive presentation of this essential subject as seen in the Vinicote's absolute knowledge category. An introduction from his books is given below in the following 8 quotes. Quotes from Srila Prabhupada's books. Vinipedia. Absolute knowledge consists of Brahman, Paramtm and Bhagavan. This conclusion is not the same as that of the monists. R.L. Advaita Siriya was given the title of Siriya because he spread the bhakti cult, not the philosophy of monism. The true conclusion of Advaita Siddhanta, expressed at the very beginning of the Caitanya Charitamrita CCAD 1.3, is not the same as the philosophy of the monists. Caitanya Charitamrita, Madhya LL 12.194, Vinipedia. Each and every one of the countless universes is full of innumerable planets with different constitutions and atmospheres. All these come from the unlimited non-dual Brahman, or complete whole, which exists in absolute knowledge. Caitanya Charitamrita, DLL 2.14, Vinipedia. After many millions upon millions of births, when one is complete in absolute knowledge, one still may not attain liberation. Yet this man, Haridasa Thakura, says that one may attain it simply by the awakening of a glimpse of the holy name. CC Antya 3.194, Vinipedia. VND Vanadihma is non-different from the Lord because the name, fame, form and place where the Lord manifests himself are all identical with the Lord as absolute knowledge. Therefore VND Vanadihma is as worshipable as the Lord. The highest form of transcendental worship of the Lord was exhibited by the damsels of Vrajabhumi in the form of pure affection for the Lord. Armad Bh Gavatam, Introduction, Vinipedia. To become absorbed in the transcendental name, quality, form and activities of the Supreme Person, Visudeva, means to change the temper of the mind from matter to absolute knowledge, which leads one to the path of absolute realization and thus frees one from the bondage of material contact and engagements in different material bodies. Armad Bh Gavatam 2.9. 36. Vinipedia. To follow the instructions of the Lord is to associate with the Lord. The Lord is not a material object whose presence one has to feel for such association. The Lord is present everywhere and at all times. It is quite possible to have his association simply by following his instruction because the Lord and his instruction and the Lord and his name, fame, attributes and paraphernalia are all identical with him, being absolute knowledge. Armad Bh Gavatam 1.12. 24. Vinipedia. By attainment of absolute knowledge, one can be in association with the Lord constantly, even in this present life, simply by hearing, chanting, thinking of and worshipping the Supreme Lord. One can see him, one can feel his presence even in this present life simply by understanding the Advijana Lord, or the Absolute Lord, through the process of devotional service, which begins with hearing about him. Armad Bh Gavatam 1.15. 31. Vinipedia. The sound representation of the Lord is non-different from the Lord himself because the Lord and his representation in sound are absolute knowledge. Lord Caitanya has instructed us that in the holy name of the Lord, as sound representation of the Lord, all the potencies of the Lord are invested. Armad Bh Gavatam 2.5. 25.